Talk about the law of attraction. First of all, can you explain what it is?
Absolutely. The law of attraction is a concept that suggests that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions can influence the events and outcomes we experience in our lives. Basically, by focusing on positive or negative thoughts, proponents believe you attract similar experiences into your life. It's often tied to the idea that like attracts like, and by maintaining a certain mindset, you can bring about your desired outcomes.
So, a few teachers say that it's not just enough to focus on what you want, but you have to feel, you have to emanate the vibrations that correspond to your future life. Can you explain the basis for that? Like, what is there a scientific explanation for that?
Yeah, so that's a big part of what's often called emotional alignment in the law of attraction. The idea is that it's not just about consciously thinking about a goal, but actually feeling the emotions as if you've already achieved it. Now, scientifically, this is a bit more speculative. There's research in positive psychology showing that emotions and mindset can shape behavior and motivation, which in turn influences outcomes. So, while there's no solid direct scientific proof that vibrations attract things, the emotional engagement can drive more proactive behavior toward goals.
Yeah, that's right, because thoughts determine emotions, and emotions determine actions, which determine results.
Exactly. It's kind of a feedback loop, right? The thoughts you repeatedly hold influence how you feel, and those feelings fuel what you do or don't do. So, by cultivating the right emotional state, people often find themselves taking steps they might not have taken otherwise, which brings about those results they're aiming for.
Well, the problem with thoughts is that they're so fleeting. So I can have the right thought right now, but then 5 seconds later, I don't have that thought anymore. So maybe one way is to use a phone, a voice reminder on my phone. Let's say every 5 minutes or every hour, it's gonna encourage me or invite me to have a certain powerful thought, like a goal that I'm going to achieve in the future. And that thought, that visualization will make me feel a certain way, and then therefore I will act a certain way, and I would produce positive results leading to that goal achievement.
I think that's a really practical approach. It's like you're creating these little anchors in your day to bring you back to that intention. By consistently interrupting your habitual thought patterns, you keep that focus strong. And over time, that repetition can make those empowering thoughts feel more automatic, which definitely helps with persistence towards your goal.
So I remember a hack or a trick that the spiritual author Wayne Dyer he had. While he was writing a book, he would take another book and he would wrap that other book with a cover of his upcoming book, and he would hold that fictitious book which has the cover of his upcoming book. And every time he holds it, he gets the feeling that the book is already done. So maybe that's how he generated the positive emotions that in turn drive him to keep writing so that he can finalize his book.
Yeah, that's such a powerful visualization technique. It's almost like a symbolic bridge. He's connecting his present actions to that future reality. And when he holds that book, he's not just imagining it, he's feeling it, embodying that sense of completion. I think a lot of people use similar tricks to reinforce belief and keep momentum high. It's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, the feeling is so important. So it's a little bit like an actor. You can be a very good actor, but if you're not dressed in the costume of your character, if you don't have the props around you and the supportive characters around you, you're not going to feel like the character you're supposed to play. And so even like professional actors will need an environment that supports their character. So in the same way, let's say today in 2026, I have to dress like the person I would be in 2027. My business suits, my laptops, my home environment, it has to scream like this is 2027 and this is the Peter of 2027. And so when I act out that character in 2027, today in 2026, I'm much more likely to head in that direction much more quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're priming your brain and your whole system to live into that future identity. By stepping into the mindset and environment now, you kind of shortcut the gap. And it also makes you take yourself more seriously. If you look like that future person, you start making decisions like that person would. So it's really a mental and practical hack all in one.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. You're saying that by acting like that future person, I'm gonna be able to perceive and be sensitive to cues in the environment and take action and make decisions like that future self.
Exactly. When you embody that future self, you start noticing opportunities or details you might have overlooked otherwise. It's like your actions start aligning naturally because your awareness is tuned to that bigger vision. So it's not just about wishful thinking, it's about giving your mind the cues to steer your daily choices.
Now, all of that sounds great, and I think that for some reason, intuitively, people understand that. But initially, I wanted to ask you, like, is there a way to explain, maybe not scientifically, but is there a way to explain why, like, when you focus on certain thoughts, eventually they become reality, and also why you need to go through the emotional alignment?
Yeah, absolutely. So, even if there isn't a strict scientific formula, one way to explain it is that our minds are like a powerful filter. When we focus on a thought or a vision, we start tuning into patterns, ideas, and actions that align with it, even subconsciously. And the emotional alignment is kind of like the fuel. When you feel the emotion of already having it, you're more engaged, more motivated, and you take steps that align with that vision. So, it's less about magic and more about how you consciously direct your focus and energy, which shapes the results.
Oh, I see. So we can say that what your mind focuses on, the thoughts, that's like when you're driving a car and you're focusing on a point on the horizon. So that's the direction. But you still need fuel in your car, and that's the emotions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. The focus is like your steering, giving you a clear direction, but the emotions are the fuel that keep you going. They keep you motivated and pushing forward. So it's that combination of clarity and drive that really propels you toward your goals.
So Bashar gives a very interesting, and I think it's a very complete kit. And he talks about beliefs, emotions, and thoughts. And he says that beliefs are a little bit like the blueprint of a house, right? Like before you build a house, it can be your life, your career, your future marriage, etc. You have to have the blueprint, and that's what he called the beliefs that we have. And then, it's not enough to have the blueprint for a house. You have to have the materials, and that's what he calls the thoughts, and behavior. And finally, you've got to have, and that's the materials with which to build a house. But finally, the plan for the house and the materials, the bricks and all of that, the cement is not enough. You need construction workers, and that's the emotions.
I love that analogy. Yeah, it really ties it all together. So beliefs give you that foundational structure, what you think is possible. Then thoughts and behaviors are like the raw materials you shape each day. And emotions, as he says, are like the workers. They give you the energy and the momentum to bring that blueprint to life. So without that emotional drive, even the best blueprint and materials might just stay on paper.
I wonder how the three interact with each other. So, in our metaphor of building a house, let's say the construction workers get together and they see the blueprint for the house. If it looks like a very good blueprint, very detailed, they're going to be more motivated, right? So, the blueprint has to be of very good quality. Is it a small house? Is it a big house? The construction workers have to have the skills and the knowledge. And finally, they have to be motivated to get to work. So, yeah, can you talk about how each element will influence the other two?
Absolutely. And I think that interplay is so crucial. The beliefs being that blueprint set the vision and the possibilities. If that blueprint is clear and inspiring, the emotions, the construction workers have something meaningful to get excited about. And when the workers, your emotions and actions, see that big picture, they bring more skill, more dedication. And that feedback then strengthens your beliefs because when you see progress, you start to trust more in that blueprint. So it's this loop. Beliefs inspire emotions, emotions drive thoughts and actions, and those actions reinforce the beliefs. It's like a dance between all three.
So let's zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture, right? We see the materials, the bricks, the wood, etc. We see the blueprint and we see the motivated construction workers. But before the house exists, like who is it that has the idea, the vision for the house in the first place? Is it the higher self? Is it the soul?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. A lot of people see that initial spark of vision as coming from a deeper part of themselves, what some might call the higher self, or the soul, or even their inner wisdom. So before the blueprint is drawn, there's this intuitive insight, this calling that says, this is what I want to build. And from that seed, everything else, the beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions starts to grow. So it's almost like it's a co creation between that deeper self and your daily choices.
Harv Eker is the author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and he wrote a very good book regarding our beliefs because if we have small beliefs, then we're going to make small money. So we have to expand our belief system. We have to change certain beliefs. For example, money is bad, money doesn't buy happiness. We have to change those beliefs because like the belief is like the blueprint. You can have all the knowledge in the world. That's the materials, and you can have motivation. That's the construction workers. But if you don't have the blueprint or you have the wrong belief system about money, it's not going to work.
Exactly. Yeah. T. Harv Eker really nails that. He points out that so many of our financial behaviors are driven by these subconscious blueprints, like money beliefs we picked up as kids. So if we don't challenge those deep seated beliefs, it doesn't matter how much knowledge or drive we have, we'll hit a ceiling. Once we upgrade those beliefs, though, we expand our capacity. And then the knowledge and the drive have this whole new, wider framework to work within.
So, for example, you can be an MBA graduate, and you can have the materials, the knowledge, and you can be motivated to become wealthy. But if you don't have the right belief about the fact that you should start your own business and not work for somebody else, then you're not going to get rich, even though you're an MBA graduate.
Exactly. Yeah. So even with all that formal education and drive, if your belief system says, I'm only safe or successful working for someone else, then you'll self sabotage or you'll stop short of that entrepreneurial leap. Once you shift that belief, like I deserve to create my own wealth, I am capable of running a business, then suddenly all that knowledge and passion lines up and you can actually take a leap. It's really powerful.